When Riot drew the bracket for VCT America's play-ins, there was an outcry from the community. They had clearly rigged the draw to make M80 go against Sentinels so they could get the storyline of Sentinels' former head coach in IGL going face-to-face with the new core of Sen. After all, M80 had gotten clearly the weakest team possible, an NV team that hadn't even looked tier 1 level for most of the year. However, to people that watched, such as myself, I made a video on this by the way, to people that had kept a close eye on Envy and what they had done with Glyph IGLing after the change from Rossi, it was not an assured matchup. Envy had looked a lot better ever since getting that win over Furia, and people were just acting like they literally did not exist. I think a lot of people thought the first game was Sen M80 because people were treating Envy as being that irrelevant. But, to the astute of us, it was obvious that Envy still had a shot. And they did. Envy 2-0'd M80 and then 2-0'd Sentinels. In this video, we're going to go over what could have caused such an insane change in form if they have a shot, and I'm going to gloat a little bit because I was right. I told you guys this as soon as they beat Furia and you guys didn't want to listen. It's fine. I'm not just a pretty face. I know what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. Thanks a ton to all the channel members on screen that let me do what I love for a living, and let's get into it. Sen win the pistol, but Envy are about to introduce Sentinels to two things, a little bit of Summit map theory and a little bit of the best aimer in the world. But first, let's talk about the theory. I believe originally I saw Lucas Rojo, Leviathan's content creator and a very strong mind for the game, point this out. But if Jerwin does what he does there, which is close the door off of jump spotting Demon1, I don't know if you caught that, but he jump spots, sees Demon1 here, and then immediately goes to close the door. You can see, bang, closes it. Now, mid kind of doesn't matter. As long as you watch A and B link, you can't threaten anything from this area because of the door. It leads to mid feeling a little bit weak. But in Valorant, there is always a trade-off. Closing this door loses you information, which means some of the information you get can be bad. Watch what Jerwin does here. Jerwin, on this jump spot, he sees the Demon1 bullet here as he goes for a little bit of a wider jiggle. You can see right there, bang, and then jump spots and only sees Demon1. Now this is bad information. If this door wasn't closed and he was up here, he would see these players. But instead, Jonah P off of the information that was not correct feels like he can swing. Now, it doesn't even really matter that everyone is here because Demon1 is just going to sit him down. Jerwin tries to get away with this, and I love to see this from Kesnet. Kesnet's spacing was an issue for the first 3 weeks. It was like a mind-numbingly bad issue. It did not look like he was a tier 1 player. But recently, his spacing has gotten so much better, and it's a large part with the role issues and the IGLing change of why this team has gotten better. Because his team's able to support him, able to, in this case, get the trade immediately. Demon1 gets another, and now it's time to talk about the other factor in Envy doing so well. Demon1 is the best raw aimer in Valorant. You can kick rocks if you disagree. I don't personally care. For a personal anecdote, by the way, that shot is nothing compared to what we'll see later. For a personal anecdote, I've been on Kovacs trying to kind of grind and improve my own gameplay, and every third or fourth scenario, I'll go up and look and see Demon1 on Kovacs. If you don't play Kovacs, you don't understand how insane it is for a full-time professional player to be one of the best people. There are plenty of people who are full-time aimers who only play aim trainers like Kovacs who are not as good at him as aiming. He developed his skill set in a different game, and as such, I don't think any player from Valorant will ever be able to reach these heights. But because he's the best aimer in the world, they're finally able to take advantage of it. His headhunter is so deadly. He gets 3 here. They win the eco round. Let's look at the next round. If you've been thinking about trying Flow State, now is the perfect time. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an all-in-one mental optimizer that'll give you clean energy for up to 6 hours. No spikes, no crashes, just you being dialed in and consistently able to perform. Now, Flow State reviews are some of the best I've ever seen there. It's reviewed by pro players, ranked players, and everyone in between. Everyone seems to love it. I've got a deal for you guys. This starter kit is normally $40, but with code LIONS, which is now 30% off, it's only $28. It's the perfect way to try all their flavors and try out Flow State before seeing what flavor you like and with Flow State is right for you. Remember, link in the description, code LIONS for 30% off, and let's get back to the video. Let's look at the next round. They've also lowered the price of all of their products, so if you've checked before and decided it was too expensive, please go check again. It means a ton to me and it will help you out. And I want to talk about Envy's clutch factor here. The biggest thing that was said about Envy was, oh, they were good on paper. And it was said a lot, to the point where I feel like people didn't really understand how good they were mechanically on paper. See, this is a team that has, in my opinion, the most, or second to most to Leviathan, probably second to most, raw firepower in all of VCT Americas. And thus, you're able to shoot your way out of so many situations you should not be able to. Envy won a 1v3, 2 1v2s, and 3 1v3s this map. If you're counting, that is 6. 6 rounds that were won because of the clutch factor and the aim factor of Envy. It is genuinely something that is able to be repeated. It wasn't just an off clutch day. Glyph won a 1v4 on Ascent. These guys can genuinely clutch against anyone because they can shoot against anyone. Now, I also want to talk about something that I think has gone a tiny bit under the radar. If you look in Demon1's hand, he's using his Mistbloom Phantom. Now, I use Mistbloom Phantom. It's great, but he used to always be a full Vandal type of player. You first noticed this switch when he went to C9, but he's done it almost consistently on Envy, where he does not use the Vandal anymore. Now, this lets him get away with spams and stuff like that, but most importantly, the first bullet accuracy on the Phantom is higher than the Vandal. You're also able to get away with like whiffing your first bullet and then recorrecting onto the target, which is good for Demon1 because, as you can see here, he can reconnect onto the target. That shot had me screaming. Okay, maybe I need to rephrase it. That shot had me loud. That shot had me... It was a really good shot. I mean, I want you to look at this replay. Right here. He gets the first kill, gets the second kill, and then it's so fast that it's almost difficult for me to slow it down, but I'm going to try. I know you can barely tell. He misses this first bullet. There we go. He misses the first bullet, but because he's on a Phantom, he's able to reconnect onto the target and get the kill faster than I am able to pause and unpause the video. I mean, this guy is absurd, and he wins the 1v3 right there. I've been telling you he was always here. And then my favorite part of all of this is Rossi's standing up right here. He's not yelling to Sentinels. He is yelling to the fans, telling them that Demon1's the GOAT because there are so many Sen fans in the arena. These guys genuinely do look like they are friends and they like each other. And it's nice to see Rossi being a positive, like, uplifting vibes guy. Demon1 just shot Sentinels into a timeout with that clutch. Now, an important part of Demon1 winning that 1v3 was him being able to walk up mid for free. Absolutely free. He got 2 of the kills off of being able to walk up mid for absolutely free. So you would think that during the timeout that they just called after that round, something would be said about the fact that mid has been so unbelievably free for them. They have a Harbor. A Harbor, I personally run it in my Premier team, and obviously Premier is a lot different than Pro Play, but Harbor is able to take mid so easily. Just a Cove can do a lot, but the Wall, a ton of his utility is very good at just trying to take control of mid. But they don't. They use it on the A fake. Knight's diffs Redux, as he's going to do, I'd say 70% of the time. I think in terms of raw one-on-one gunfight, I'm taking Knights over anyone on Sentinels, and you'd be dumb if you don't do the same. So guess what? They get to go up through mid. Now they fight Cortesia, and yes, it is a Vice on site, but it's also a 1v4. Even after he gets the kill on Rossi, he has to watch both angles. He can't do it. And Sentinels save. Envy are given another free round. This is after a timeout where Sentinels forced up to try and get it. Now they have to save the rifles. It is absurd that something wasn't done about mid in that timeout. I am genuinely like shocked that he didn't say anything about it. Envy get yet another round, and Demon1 didn't even have to do anything. Now, Sentinels give a little bit more care towards mid here. They have the Harbor up, like, on actual mid, but the door is still closed, so he's not getting any info. And then we get to another problem. Also, Demon1's using the Vandal after I talked about him using the Phantom. Whatever, he gets the first one anyways. But when Envy are able to get a site, and this A site is almost completely free, it is the Champs 2023 winner, the highest peak winner and MVP, by the way, the highest peak in the game, the best raw mechanical skill in the lobby versus Jonah P with the Guardian for this first blood. So we're going to give that to Demon1. It's going to be Demon1's pretty much any day out of the week. It might even be a day that's not in the week. We're going to give that to Demon1. But the double Senti comp is such a problem for Sentinels because all Envy had to do to win that round, realistically, obviously they have to keep doing this, but to get the win percentage up to, like, I don't know, roughly what, for a 4v5 retake on A, I'd say 80% win rate for Envy. With this Sage util, maybe 90%. Because they're playing the double Senti. I also think some people are misunderstanding the double Sentinel comp, I don't think this would work without literally Demon1 in the chamber. Because him getting so many frags and being so aggressive, being the difference maker, is what enables this to work. I think it wouldn't work with someone else. But because Rossi's on that Sage, Center locked out. They've got nothing. They're going to try for this retake, but I honestly don't think they should have. Now, no one wants to save twice in a row. They saved a couple of rifles before this, but I genuinely don't think they should have here because there's no world where you're able to get back into this site. It's simply not happening, and we're going to move to 5-1 already on attack. By the way, take a quick glance in the upper top left of your corner if you can avert your eyes from my sexy, gorgeous face. This is Sen's map pick, and they're down this bad. They did better on Envy's map pick of Ascent, a lot better. Sen finally realized mid's been a problem, but it's way too late. This could also be them electing to just use the retake and try and play for the retake in a 5v5, although I don't think that's the case. I think they just wanted to see if something was mid. Unfortunately for them, Envy have realized that they can just go B, and it's just a great read by Glyph. I must say, this guy has been, I don't know if he's like up every single night anti-stratting. He has had the most perfect round-by-round reads I've seen of anyone in this meta. It's genuinely a treat to watch what he can cook up. I also want to talk about this trip. Now, this trip is something that I see used like not used a lot, and I think it should be. The cross map trip, when you have an embedded lurker, is very, very useful. Consider Breeze, for example. If you're going to go A and you're going to lurk mid as chamber, I play chamber on Breeze, you want to actually trip the other site, because if you're mid, then you know if anyone's coming mid, and you trip the other site, you get that advanced info. If you die, the trip wouldn't have mattered anyways. So it's something I see a lot of people not doing, and I think that they should. This trip allows Rossi to know he's good from behind, so when he's embedded right here, he can wait, he doesn't have to check his flank, and boom, he ends up getting the first blood, which also means that Sen don't feel comfortable flanking, so yet again, they have a 4v5 retake on a disadvantaged bomb site, and they just lose. You can't win this. Kesnet's embedded here, by the way. He was in a really, really bad spot. I mean, he should be dead here, and he gets 2. Bang, bang, and it's over. Again, Envy just get the bomb site 6-1. This is brutal. This is genuinely brutal to watch. I would say I feel bad for the Sen fans, but I really don't. They're Sen fans. But, like, if they were people with a soul, I would feel bad. But it's Sen fans. Who cares? Genuinely, look at how this guy looks shell-shocked, bro. Like he's seen battle because of this game. Demon1 has shown this guy the light. Sentinels do a listen in this round, and you literally hear their IGL say, "This is so hard." Because it is. This is, by all means, one of the more difficult sites to retake in the game, on a map that the meta hasn't really been figured out on, and Sentinels have played so passively throughout the game that even when Envy are down in numbers, they're put in winnable spots like this because they're able to get sites almost completely for free. This has probably been the most passive Harbor comp I've recently seen played. You have to be able to get aggressive with Harbor. You can get aggressive with them, especially mid on this map, and they just haven't. They've been so passive. It's leading to their IGL literally going, man, this is so hard. I thought he was talking about me watching Demon1, but apparently it was the retake. And I mean, you can see right here, Rossi, despite having prime Lionzblade aim, is still able to get one off the fatal. I mean, look at this. That's preposterous. I see that. I'm starting to spout adjectives. That is preposterous. It really is preposterous aim to be able to still get one. Then they call for Jerwin to, hey, ignore this guy, go sight. They go sight, and then they simply lose out the fights. Rossi's able to go back main, and even though both the players do end up going down right here, they're able to kill Glyph, it doesn't matter. Rossi kills them, and immediately, and to quote the caster, stands up and lets them know they're playing like ass. I genuinely think the psychological effect, especially when it's to a team you were supposed to beat, of someone getting up and yelling at you. Look at that laugh. That's an evil grin. That's an evil laugh. Like, if a Sentinels player is seeing that, you have to be psychologically like, I'm not playing against a human. That's not a person. No person smiles and laughs like this. This is some evil mastermind. He gets this, immediately starts standing up. And I genuinely think that has an impact on the Sen players. They were supposed to win this game. They really were. And choking like this, not only losing a game to a team that was supposed to be so much worse than you, but getting told about it every single round after you've lost a clutch, because that happens almost every single round, that has to hurt. Now, Sentinels have a 4v5 and they have Vice-Ult, so the call is to retake on A. I still, even though they have Vice-Ult, don't think this is the right call. You have consistently proven you cannot retake, especially on A. You are just fully unable to retake. Rossi, by the way, with the wall that doesn't get anyone up except for himself. Demon1 stuck back here and he has to chip away at it. But and it's very good that he does get on site. More on that in a second. It just doesn't work. These retakes from Sen do not work. The comms that you hear, they're so cluttered as well. It's, if you want to, I think you should go back, listen to the listen in from last round and listen, because it sounds so cluttered, so many voices, so many ideas. And again, they're in the same spot pretty much. Yes, they have cave control, so they're able to retake from cave, but it's so many players having to retake through here. That's the problem of the A site, is that it's so many players coming through such a small gap, you have to use utility to get through there. They Visal that puts Demon1 on a headhunter, and it ends up being bad for them. Demon1 gets 2 with the headhunter. With the op, he probably would have only gotten 1, but as we've said before, the best raw aim in all of Valorant, and he's able to get away with stuff like that. It gets to the point where Rossi is jumping across the screen, like literally just full knife out jumping, and I'm assuming is getting up and yelling at Jonah P, calling him a stats player for getting the kill there. I mean, this is simply brutal stuff. Sen are unable to retake, and Envy are happy to take these sites. They were down 4v5. They had no initiator utility to take the site, but because it was a retake from Cortezia, just ends up being fine. By the way, watch the shots Demon1's able to hit here. Just poetry in motion. It's just so beautiful to watch. I mean, this is what made me a Demon1 fan. A little bit of personal story. I became a Demon1 fan in 2023 when I started watching Valorant, because it was the greatest display of mechanics I've ever seen. He has the best mechanics I've ever seen, and to this day I stand on that. He's simply unmatched. It's gotten to the point where Demon1 is literally just jumping through. Cortezia can't even hit the shot. Little replay here. And he just kills him with the outlaw there. I mean, this is brutal stuff. Envy just are running it down on ecos. Something that they would have been criticized for months earlier because they couldn't get the kills, right? People will be talking about the fact that Knights was supposed to go through that wall with Rossi, but because they figured out how to get the roles streamlined, how to get everyone streamlined to where they can shoot to the best of their ability, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Rossi will win the one. Demon1's going to get the other kill. It doesn't matter because they are simply so mechanically good. And that's what worried people about this roster initially, is they can bail themselves out with their mechanics. Well, it took a little bit of work, but we're here, right? This is, I think, the second best mechanical team in North America. So you're going to have to deal with it. Teams can't write them off as a free loss. You can't say, oh, Sentinels are going to go play M80. No, this is a legitimate threat. I think M80 need to treat them as a legitimate threat. Excuse me, MIBR need to treat them as a legitimate threat, because if they don't, this is what's going to happen to you. This is the message to all of the teams who thought Envy were write them off. It's a free win. No one cares. This is you. If you underestimate this team, you're at 2 and Envy are at 10, and Envy will be at 13 and you'll be at 3. And you'll be the laughingstock of the community. You have to take them seriously because they are that good to be taken seriously. They've forced them to be respected right here. They're forcing respect, and it's awesome to watch. This is the last round I want to show you guys because it just shows what Envy are so perfectly. It's a bonus round. They're going to take some risks, and Knights literally just walks out behind the entire team. No one's watching this because how could you? If you try and watch everything, you end up like Sentinels on defense, scared and not able to have actual control of anything. So Knights goes through here, and even with a bit of whiffage is able to get 2. I find it very funny that he goes off the guy he's currently hitting in the body to go hit another guy in the head. Demon1 gets another kill, and the bonus round is wrapped up, all nice and clean, with a little bow, for 20 seconds of time? I think I took 19, maybe. That is what Envy can do when they're dangerous. I genuinely think this team will qualify to playoffs, and after that, who knows? Also, I love what Rossi's doing with these little jiggles, and you can see when Cortezia gets so pissed off that he's not hitting it, he ends up just backing up. It's really funny. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like. YouTube has a little hype feature. It'd mean a ton to me if you could hype it up. My last video got hyped up and it helped it a ton. Join the Discord, become a channel member today, and it would help me a ton as well. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.